Hi, welcome back to the Becoming Spirit Minded and Guided podcast. Okay, listen, if the audio sounds hopefully better, I'm hoping better, but just different, it's because I'm now using voice memos to record. I'm gonna try to keep my mouth a good distance from my phone. If there are a couple moments of it being too close, I'm sorry, because it's my first time doing this, but I've been working a little bit, so yeah. I really hope to get to a point where I can have a mic. I really want to get to a point where I can, I want to get to a point where I can have a camera, where I'm in it, you know what I mean? Where I'm in it, and it's not just an audio. I just don't have that. I don't have the equipment or the environment as of now, so, but the Lord's showing me that I don't need that for him to use this. I don't need that for him to work with this, and his plan will not be stopped by my lack of resources, I guess. And I have the resources. I have the resources that I need. I have a way to edit. I have also the time. Can I say that the Lord is so faithful, because I started this with one of my friends in the winter. And as we know, I've talked about that friend stepped down, but he stepped down right at the beginning of my summer vacation, which is so important because it's just cool how now this is completely what I do. Okay, by the way, there's kind of going to be a lot of opening stuff this episode, so I'm going to put in the description a time that you can skip to get on to the topic for the day. In case you don't know, I do everything for this. So I obviously was the versus the week and whatnot, and then there's I record the episodes, I edit them, I plan for the episodes, I all the things. It feels okay. I very much make sure to plan everything. It's not too overwhelming, especially. But what I'm saying is the Lord knew I'm homeschooled now when I wasn't when this began. I do not think if I went to school full time, there's no way I would be able to put as much. There is no way I'd be able to put as much into this as I currently do. And of course I'm homeschooled, I do school work, but it's not as much, especially since at school, so much of the time, the teachers are just talking at you rather than you actually getting stuff done, because they have a certain amount of time they have to fill. Anyway, this is season 2, episode 6, on basically, I don't know exactly what I'm going to call it yet, but the horror of abortion. So, I want to share something. And hopefully this will be an encouragement to you. I'm recording this on the 23rd of October, and I very much want to say something important. It's that I've had this, I knew I was going to record this today, right? But I've just felt, and I do believe part of the reason that I felt this spiritual attack today, that I'm going to get into, is because of that. Because this is a very passionate topic of mine. Basically, I have felt this heaviness, this spirit of heaviness, and just unmotivation. But you can tell when you're just oh, I'm unmotivated, I'm tired, whatever, versus oh, there's something different about this. You can feel it. And the closer you get to the Lord, the more you can feel, okay, this is different. Yeah. And the Lord did give me a revelation today about something that I've been praying for. So it did have to do with that. But anyway, I was even thinking maybe, I had the thought maybe I should just skip this and record it another day, just with how I've been feeling today. And the Lord so kindly spoke to me, maybe you sharing, talking with these people or talking to these people about this topic, because he knows that I am very much like a passionate pro-lifer, which we're going to talk about more, but very much. And yeah, like I think this is going to be good for my heart today. I think it's going to be good for my soul. I need to share one more thing about my past week, and I'm going to try not to freak out. I'm going to try to be calm. Okay. So, let's just say, I think it was, what was it? The 19th, on the 19th of October. That was like, for you guys, that was like over a month ago. But, the 19th of October, I got the opportunity to go to Upper Room Church in Dallas. If you recall, in even like the first episode of season 2, when I was giving like artist suggestions, they were on there. They're a church in Dallas, and I went in person for the first time. Let me just say, my background with Upper Room is like right a couple months into my like journey with Jesus, like or like a few months later, like it was around the summer of 2024, like the very beginning of the summer of 2024. I discovered them through their song Rest On Us. Alyssa, at the time Smith, was she was leading it, and it was just beautiful, and I looked them up and I fell in love with them. For the past like year, a little more, you know how like on YouTube, like I don't have Spotify for some reason. I feel like I should get that, but I use like YouTube Music, right? Not like I listen to music on YouTube. Anyway, I have like a worship playlist with like 1,000 songs. Anyway, and every single season, YouTube gives you like your top artists, and top album songs, like everything like that. And Upper Room is always in the top 5. And I have a ton of different artists that I listen to, and they're always in the top 5. The experience at the church was amazing. Okay, how about in the description, I can link the live stream that, like, when I was there. I don't know, the worship was fire. The message was fire. I don't even know, like, it was completely what I thought it was going to be, because I knew it was going to be amazing. And, like, people were singing in tongues everywhere. I was obsessed. And I have to say, okay, along with I'm gonna cry. Along with Upper Room Church, right? One of their main worship leaders and most well-known is Abby Gamboa, who I literally love. And she was not leading worship that morning, but there was this thing that happened. I'll put a video from the live stream on the screen, but it was a baby dedication, and it was where babies were being dedicated to the Lord. And I didn't notice it at the time until I watched the live stream back. Abby Gamboa and her husband, Gabriel, their newborn. Well, I don't know how old the baby is, but their new baby, I shouldn't say new baby. Anyway, their youngest child out of the two was being dedicated to the Lord. And I'm like, the fact that I got to be there, the literal service, because there was like, even like, that was like, I was at the second service. Like, there was a service before that, and I got to be there. And I know that was the Lord. That was the Lord so intentionally, because I literally love Abby. And I don't know. That was just, and that in itself, though, like, there were like, I don't even know how many babies were dedicated, but it was gorgeous. And I've never really seen anything like that. So, and I wanted to, the Lord just ties things together so beautifully, because that goes right into today's topic, which is on abortion. And let me just say, I've always been pro-life. I've been pro-life my whole life. But I say that, like, I've always been pro-life, but it wasn't till semi-recently that I really learned what it meant to be pro-life. For most of my life, I didn't know what abortion was. Like, obviously I knew what it was, but, like, I didn't know what it was. Like, I didn't know what was done. In my mind, it was almost like, and this is, like, a very big misconception. In my mind, it was almost like I just imagined the baby there and the baby gone. Like, I didn't know the horror. I didn't really, really, really understand what happens in these Planned Parenthoods. And not only that, but, like, I didn't really know the Lord for most of my life, obviously. And you cannot know Jesus and be pro-life. There are people. But, like, I believe the most pro-life people will always know him. Because if you think about it, like, part of the reason that Christians are pro-life is because we know God cherishes all in the womb. Like Jeremiah 1:5, God says before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Obviously, the core of our belief with it is like Jesus, but there is still scientific evidence that supports the pro-life movement. Just when a life becomes a life, which we're going to talk all about. Let me flip open to my notes that I don't even have it right now. Here's my title, The Murder of the Unborn. Now, I literally told y'all, every single episode, I've always mentioned Charlie Kirk, right? Naturally. Like, because my first episode, was my first? Wasn't it yeah. The first episode came out, like, right after, I recorded, I think, my first episode, like, very shortly after, and there's just been new stuff coming, but I do want to say that, I've been very inspired by Charlie's, basically, like, how he talked about abortion, and how he, like, just the factual evidence that he provided. So, yeah, I've listened to him and learned a lot, and I don't want to, something that he even said himself, is, like, it's not good to, like, you shouldn't take credit for something that you got from someone else. Like, I definitely was inspired by him. Along with also, there's a pro-life organization, which you probably know, Live Action. So, yeah, love them. The founder is a woman named Lila Rose. She is a beautiful, sweet woman. Like, her heart is just so loving. I discovered Live Action, like, earlier in 2025, and immediately I was like, I love them. I'm pretty sure they do, like, a conference. Like, I don't know if it's, like, a yearly thing, but they did one in, like, California. I'm pretty sure, like, recently-ish. I don't really know. But, yeah, you can look more into them. Beautiful. We're going to generally start by defining murder. I know that's heavy, but, like, defining what is murder. Like, what actually is murder, though? Like, that's important. Murder is different than killing. Also another thing that sometimes people, like, interchange the words murder and killing, which they're really not interchangeable, because murdering is like when you take a life for no reason. Killing is like, say you were in war, like, say you were defending yourself, right? Like, if someone was trying to harm you and you had to defend yourself, that's what killing is. And that's kind of those are kind of elementary definitions. But yeah, murder is like, obviously it's murder in this case, because what did the child inside you do? Except exist. There are a lot of, so basically the whole pro-choice, if I'm being completely honest, sometimes I don't even say pro-choice, I like to say pro-death, literally. Because if they're like, yeah, just go kill it, just go kill that one, like, that is pro-death. I think there's actually pro-death and pro-choice. Pro-death is people who don't care. Pro-choice would be, I think, people who do not support abortion in any circumstance other than, like, rape or the mother's gonna die, that type of stuff. Pro-lifers don't support abortion ever. So, we're gonna talk about that. But I think a lot of we're just gonna say pro-choice, just like, because that's what it's called. Pro-choice people are very much, they love to say the whole clump of cells term. We need to talk about that in a way that's like, okay, calling somebody that a human being, I think that even some people who say that are trying to convince themselves that that's what it is. Because a clump of cells wouldn't matter, would it? Wouldn't, if it was just, like, not alive, if it was just a literal clump of, like, nothingness, then in your mind it's like, okay, well, how does that really affect me? Like, you're attached to it less. Okay, but, like, let's think about that. Like, if a fetus in the womb is a clump of cells, I mean, if we're being technically accurate, it is a clump of cells, but that's not what it's defined by. That does not have anything to do with its worth, because I'm a clump of cells, and whoever is listening to this is also a clump of cells. Does that mean that we're not people, though? And I think another big issue is that people are very much desensitized to those in the womb. Like, there are people who believe, okay, like, if you some people believe, like, you can get an abortion at, like, 30 weeks, 35 weeks, but once the baby's out of the womb, you can't. I mean, what if you take two babies that are at 30 weeks, right? Why should one of them be able to be aborted? And one of them, if it just happened to be born early, that one shouldn't be, even though they're the literal same thing. They just have a different position, they're in a different place. But a lot of people, that's why a lot of mothers, when they're considering abortion, they see an ultrasound of their baby and they say, no, I'm not going to do that. They say, no, I am going to fight for my child. I am going to fight for my baby. So people naturally, when they don't see the baby, they naturally, like, it's almost like they, like, in their mind, it's like, okay, I don't see it, so it doesn't matter. It's not really a baby. And another really dangerous thing is that a lot of people don't even know what abortion, like, actually is. People don't know also that from a very, very, very young age, I guess, but, like, in the womb, like, in terms of being in the womb for 9 months, like, those in the womb get fingers, hands, a head, legs, very quick, very early on. They're just very tiny. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, actually, I heard this story. It was actually on live action. It was an interview, and it was this woman who took the abortion pill. She said that she saw her baby, because obviously the small, tiny human comes out of you, right? But there, she said, like, it was about the size, like, it could fit in her palm. And she saw the little tiny, tiny fingers and legs and body, which so many people don't know. And so many people who are even, like, getting abortions, they don't even realize what they're doing. And I do feel for these women who, I mean, when you're 15 and your parents are threatening to kick you out of their home, I am not trying to say that those women are, like, they're, in a lot of cases, they are not like, oh yes, I'm gonna go get this thing murdered because because they want to. They're probably terrified out of their mind, and that is not me saying it is okay at all, but that we need to show grace to these people who are struggling in this situation, even though we know what they're doing is wrong. Some of them might not even know what's happening by them doing that, and they're just focusing on their life, and which there needs to be more support for mothers, I think, especially, like, teenagers, which unfortunately that is a thing when it shouldn't be. Teen pregnancy is a very, very horrible thing, but at the same time, that doesn't mean, like, God's will is never for a teen to, when I say teen, I mean, like, it's not if you're, like, 19 and married, but, like, if you're, like, unmarried teenager, you know what I mean? That's never God's plan. But once the child is conceived, God's plan for that child is not to be murdered and taken from the world. Let's just go to the facts. 99.9% of abortions that occur happen from literally just casual intimacy with, like, literally. I'm pretty sure it's, like, around 0.5% of abortions that do happen are from rape, incest, or the life of the mother is at risk, which we're going to talk more about that, because that is something that needs to be, we're going to need to go into that. So I think that something we need to address first is, like, okay, so many pro-choicers immediately go to, like, well, what if the mom's going to die? What if it's, like, an 11-year-old who got assaulted, which is obviously, like, horrible. But the problem is that so many, like, it's almost like a lot of pro-choicers, like, that's all they talk about with abortion, and people don't understand, like, okay, the amount of abortions that happen due to that is so insanely small compared to the amount that happen from literally someone going and making irresponsible choices, making an irresponsible choice for himself and then saying, I know that I did this willingly, but I'm going to choose to go end a life because I wanted to have fun. Because somebody wanted to do something for pleasure, they are going to take another life when they get a result that they knew could come from it. I think with rape and incest, as a pro-lifer, I do not think that is a reason to abort your child. But what I want to address first, that I think a lot of times pro-lifers can be looked at by pro-choicers as like, almost like as if by saying that you shouldn't abort in those situations, that we are supporting that in some way, or we don't hate that, assault as much as anyone else does. I think it's so important to remember, guys, that when you are assaulted, okay, no matter how young or old you are, the amount of trauma that you are going to be under is insane. Like, really. So, genuinely, I do believe that a lot of pro-choicers, when they say, like, oh, you can get an abortion when you get raped or anything like that, like, they almost, like, I think they think that the abortion is going to undo the rape or, whatever it was. An abortion will actually add trauma. So say we have a pile of trauma. The abortion will add another pile of trauma onto it. Statistics show that actually those who get abortions are more likely to literally commit. Like, I'm not making that up. Like, this is serious stuff. Like, this is a serious thing. And say you're 12 years old and you get assaulted and you conceive. That is one of the worst situations that you could be in. But if you made the choice to bring that child into the world, that is literally the best decision you can make in that situation. And I believe even if you get assaulted, that child has the ability to bring happiness to your life. I believe that God, of course, in that situation, you need God first and foremost, but I believe that God will use that child to bring healing. Seriously, because then it's like, okay, this evil thing happened to me. Instead of doing something evil to something else that didn't do anything wrong, it's not gonna change what happened. So instead of doing another act of evil on top of evil, I'm going to do something good. Because there was evil, it's like there was evil done to me, I'm going to do something good. I feel for the parents, though, who have that happen to their child. And see, the child, some might say, okay, the child didn't even understand what's going on. It would, be over with before they even knew it. But even though the child wouldn't necessarily understand exactly what's going on, there's just a darkness to it that just is so wrong. I mean, not to mention, in any circumstance at all, there is never going to be someone, you're never going to be forced to take that baby in. You're never going to be forced to, it's not like if you were to get assaulted, nobody is saying to you, like, okay, this is your responsibility, you are raising this child. There are people out there are couples who would, I mean, not even in a horrific situation alone, but just in any situation, like, there are couples who would love to take your child, and adopt your child. And yes, I know you have to go through the pregnancy process and labor, and that's horrible, but you can just bring something beautiful. Like, being assaulted and choosing life gives you the opportunity to bring something beautiful. It's like beauty from ashes. Like, it's not saying, like, what happened to you is nothing even in the same atmosphere as beautiful, like, not related to being beautiful. But I also do want to share, on a college campus with Charlie Kirk, there was this woman who shared a testimony on, she was, it was incest, I think it was by her father, and she chose life. And yeah, here's that clip, because I do really think this is, like, very important to see.
So I wasn't going to come up here, but I heard someone talking about how abortions are important because it takes rape babies out of the population. And I just wanted to say that by saying that, they are wanting to take out very important people. 4 years ago, I was raped by my father, and I chose not to have an abortion, and this is what came out of it.
I'm very sorry that happened to you. That is incest and rape. And tell us your little one's name.
This is Jonah.
And Jonah's a miracle from God.
He is.
But it was a terrible thing that happened to you. What is your message to people that say babies conceived in rape are not human beings?
They are absolutely human beings. They are made individually by God, and they can do some very important things. I believe that he'll grow up and he'll help people, and based on all of our experiences, we can try and keep them from doing the same thing that their parents did.
Praise God. Jonah is alive because of your courage. And you turned something evil into something good. So God bless you, and thank you so much. Hi, Jonah. You want a hat, Jonah?
Yes, please.
God bless you. Thank you.
As the pro-choicers will be like, okay, well, that's great for her, but, like, you should have the choice, right? I'm going to close this topic with this. You already had to suffer. You had to suffer in that situation. So for you to cause suffering on another human being it's like you had to suffer, but then you're passing it to someone else. When with you could say, no, the suffering here is ending with me, and I'm going to let this child have life. And yeah, the idea with the life of the mother, again, pro-choicers like to say, like, oh, what if the mother's gonna die? Something that actually is very, very important with this is like, okay, we gotta remember, I think sometimes people think that if you have a risk in your pregnancy, that you have to get an abortion just to remove it. But there's a thing called a C-section. And you can have a C-section early, right? And now, if it is very early on, it is very unlikely that your child will survive. But you're not killing the baby, though. You're not intentionally killing it. And so in that situation, it's like you would be giving it a chance. And it is even possible for, I'm pretty sure it's like 20 weeks, around 20 weeks or a little higher, that babies can't survive outside of the womb. So rather than getting an abortion, like, there's no reason when, not to mention a lot of times with, like, the life and the mother situations, like, these mothers want their child. If you're told that you have to get an abortion and you actually believe it and you're trying to save your life, and then imagine you then learn that you didn't really have to and you could have gotten a C-section and gotten a chance to save your child, that is absolutely disgusting. And what, is that just a way for Planned Parenthood to make more money? Like, there's another Charlie Kirk clip that a woman shared, a testimony on that happening to her, and I'm going to share that because these things are real and these situations do happen. Pro-lifers aren't making this up, which obviously people who support Planned Parenthood are going to try and convince you that pro-lifers are crazy because they care about life. So, yeah, listen to this clip.
When I was 23, I got pregnant, wasn't planned, and I decided I was going to do the right thing. Came from a Christian family. Abortion was always off the table. At 18 weeks, I found out that my amniotic sac tore and attached to my baby's spine. It was pulling her spine out and filling her brain with fluid. And the doctor said, there's no other option. This is what we have to do. So I did induce labor and I gave birth. That was the grounds. I said, I'm not doing this unless. So I wanted to hold her. I wanted to, yeah. So afterwards, when I started getting bills, the doctor said, well, your life wasn't actually at risk of death in that moment. It could have been eventually, but it wasn't then. And so the pain that abortion caused me, I stayed in an abusive relationship for a year. I allowed a man to beat me because I felt so little about myself. I drank, I used drugs, and if it hadn't been for Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, I don't know where I would be.
That is just messed up. And another thing to go into with this is the obsession that is the phrase that is recycled by every pro-choicer, which you're gonna immediately know what I'm talking about, It's my body, my choice. And you know what I'm going to say? I totally agree. I really agree. Like, I really agree. You should be able to decide if you want to paint your nails as a girl. Like, if you want to paint your nails orange or yellow. You should be able to decide, do I want my hair a little longer, a little shorter? You should be able to decide, what color lipstick do I want to wear today? But when we're talking about a literal another human being, another life, it doesn't matter if it's inside of you, because it is a life. It's not, it may be in you, but it is not like a literal part of your body. Not like your bones are, or your nerves, or your brain. From the moment of conception, if a woman gets murdered, right, who had the tiniest little baby that just got conceived, like very, very, very recently, that murderer is charged with double homicide. And why do you think that is? I mean, if it's just a part of her body, then why would that be? If it's something literally relating to your body, you can choose. But if it's another body, and I love what Charlie said too, where he said, like, what if that baby inside is a little girl? Doesn't she get the right to her own body? Because she does have a body. She has a body. Okay, another dangerous thing. There are so many quote-unquote Christians who are pro-choice. It's like, how can you be? There are even some that have claimed, like, it's like, okay, this is how the Bible supports abortion, and I'm like, but like, there are so many people who are like claiming Christianity, and they're like, I go to church and I also support Planned Parenthood. Like, what? You cannot claim to be a Christian and then support the massacre of literal babies in the womb. Like, I don't think in our day and age people understand, like, do you understand how insane it is that literal, like, that babies are just murdered on the daily, like, thousands? Like, it is absolutely insane that this is like this is like daily, like, this is like mass murder. And this is just allowed. This is a literal legal thing. This is under the government. Actually, what? Okay, I have to share. I remember I was in school and we were going through this like debate unit in English, and I asked my little group, I was like, in theory, like, who would want to do a debate on abortion? Nobody wanted to. Most of them said they would have been pro-choice. But I think that it's because, and my English teacher even said, it's like a very touchy subject. And that makes me think, the reason that it is touchy is because we're talking about human life. If it was just a clump of cells, it wouldn't be. But for some reason, it is. For some reason, quote unquote, it is. We know the reason. There was also a boy in that class who said, like, I'm a man, so I wouldn't be able to have a say in that. Like, it wouldn't be, like, basically, like, he doesn't really deserve an opinion in it. And that, to me, is immediately, like, as a man, you have the ability to know what's right and wrong. You know that murder is wrong. You don't have to be a woman to know that murder is wrong. Not to mention, without men, there wouldn't be babies. Like, without men, like, yes, it's in the woman's body, but without a man, it wouldn't even be. So, you know, like, that's just something important to remember. And another thing is, being pro-life is being pro-mother. Pro-lifers have sometimes this reputation of, like, I guess, like, you only care about the baby and you don't care about the mom at all. Again, getting an abortion would cause trauma to the mother. So choosing life is also choosing, literally, it's like for the peace of the mother. Also, it's just for the good of the mother. Pro-lifer, like, as a pro-lifer, I care about the mother just as much as the child. I actually fully suggest, okay, I need to make a suggestion right now. Maybe you are listening to this episode right now, and maybe you agree with everything I'm saying. And if you don't, I just encourage you to do more research on what abortion is. I encourage you first and foremost to pursue Jesus Christ, and he'll show you the truth in time. But maybe you're like, what can I do? How can I help? I have been here. I've been in this boat for a long time. I mean, not that long. I haven't really started digging into what abortion is until 2025. So, yeah, but it's felt like a long time. And, it's kind of like I'm like, what can I do? Like, I have had such the urge. Actually, specifically, there's this movie called Unplanned. It's my, like, all-time favorite movie. The lead is, what's her name? Oh my gosh, I love her. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'll put a picture. I forgot her name. But Ashley Bradshaw, I think. Yeah, Ashley Bradshaw. It's a movie, based off, she plays Abby Johnson. It's about Abby, it's based off the book Unplanned by the actual Abby Johnson, who was, like, a clinic director of a really big Planned Parenthood. But she actually witnessed an abortion, and she discovered, wow, like, this is evil. And she then just went on to fight for the pro-life movement, and so just beautiful. But after watching that movie, like, recently again, I watched it this summer, then I watched it again, like, in the fall, and I literally was like, Lord, like, I need to do something. I just felt such the urge. There are things, actually there are a few things that you can do that I'm going to talk about that can help the pro-life movement. And I don't even want to just say the pro-life movement. The pro-life movement is for the unborn. There's this beautiful quote. I'm going to put it on the screen. I don't exactly know what it is, but it's along the lines of, like, it's basically saying every person who supports abortion is not in the womb. Interesting. So the first thing I think that is important that we should talk about is you can pray. Prayer changes things. Prayer, something from that movie Unplanned that is based off a true story. It's like, from Planned Parenthood statistics, right? Like, prayer, when you go, and even pray on your own, but pray, like, you can go outside of Planned Parenthood and pray. Prayer, when people see you praying, the Lord can do a work in that moment. Prayer is so important. Prayer can change. Like, God can change everything. And God can just come into someone and say, like, someone's heart and say, like, hey, I'm going to help you with this. Like, don't do this. Don't go through with this. You can also donate. So important. You can donate to, whether it is Live Action or, like, there's also 40 Days for Life. Just, like, pro-life organizations that really, like, that money is going to help the unborn. That money is money is being used in the fight for the unborn. Donation, like, I think that's a very important thing too, is, like, there are too many people nowadays who are, like, who are so wealthy, and they're making sure they get all the nice stuff and all the big house and the nice $1 million car. But, like, what about those who are dying in the womb every day? Like, there are more important things than stuff. And if you're able to, donating is so important. Actually, I don't know how much it is. It might be like $28 around there. It's enough to give a mother an ultrasound, which, again, has literally, like, there are stories of mothers seeing their child on the ultrasound, and then they change their mind. And that is literally, like, can you imagine that your $28, or however much it is, around 28, literally can highly contribute to somebody getting a life? That is, like, when you put it like that, when you think about it, like, that is actually crazy and beautiful. Another thing is just also talk to pro-choicers. You can go online, but also just, like, in person. If you were to encounter someone who you know is pro-choice, or even, like, if it's, like, a friend, just talk about why you believe what you believe. You can share the gospel too, and talking to those who do support it, because you can just shed light. I actually love something that today's episode was obviously Christian based. Everything is biblical based here at the Becoming Spirit-Minded Guided podcast. Every episode is going to be rooted in scripture. However, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be, like, about God specifically every time. Like, this is about abortion, right? But, like, I love how, like, it's just like a song. It doesn't have to directly be about God, but can be glorifying to him, which we talked about in episode 1. Yeah, we've had 5 episodes so far. Just a recap in case you haven't, like, in case you're new here. The first episode of season 2, and this is season 2, we had an episode on basically the music industry and just what Christians should stay away from with music. We had one on anxiety, on surrender, on Halloween, and also on just the mockery of Jesus in today's day and age. So yeah, on this channel you can find those if you if any of those are any interest to you, if they appeal to you. We have just been, I just loved just talking about the facts, just talking about facts with abortion, because facts are important. And I think, like, I love how these facts are all backed up by scripture, but it's not, there's never going to be a topic that it's not like only scripture can prove it. Like, it, obviously we know this is God's heart. That is also another thing, is God's heart, like, in this. I just also want to share for a minute, like, something he spoke to me surrounding abortion. But yeah, what I was saying is just how, like, how Charlie Kirk said abortion is completely defendable without using the Bible at all, which just shows God's order and his nature in the literal world and with everything, and how we know morally, within our heart, we know. God wrote morals in our heart. We know what's right and wrong, even if we want to deny it. And again, I feel for the mothers who, even the mothers who, like, they feel they don't like abortion and they're doing it. They're not even doing it. They're doing it even though they don't even support it, because I know that definitely does happen. And we're going to pray in a few minutes. The Lord spoke to me just like how the same way that he knows you now, he knew you when you were in your mother's womb. A fraction of what Jesus died for is literally like every baby, every act of murder on every single baby. Okay, that is something too that I thought of. I'm like, oh my gosh. The amount of people in heaven that have never even stepped foot on this earth that are from abortion and also miscarriage. And I just know, oh my gosh, I just know that there are stories where mothers get abortions and then they give their life to Christ some point later on and they're going to go to heaven and meet their... God is so good and filled with grace, and like, think about, he knows, these aren't just like, we think we love those, like, of course, like, we love those in the womb, like, I love those in the womb, but like, that, we love them so little compared to God. Like, just think about his heart when, oh my gosh, like, the amount that are going home to him on a regular basis is like, oh my gosh, wow. This is a semi-new revelation for me. I think, wow. On the topic of, on this whole topic, I'm gonna take a moment where we can just pray for, over what happens with the murder of the unborn in the world. So bow your head and close your eyes with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I'm sorry that this happens. I'm sorry that those who you love are murdering those who you also love just as much. I pray that you will enter the hearts. I pray that for revival to happen among the pro-choicers. I pray that you will bring abortion down. Use everybody, like, use even Donald Trump. Use that with what Charlie stood for. Like, how, like, I pray that Charlie was passionately pro-life, and I pray that you will even be revealing to people, like, more about his heart with that. And also just, like, I pray that those around the world who are planning on this, that you will come into their heart and that you will show them that you love their child and that you have a plan for their child and that you can sustain them, Lord, that you will help them. Show them that you are able to be there for them and that you want to be there for them. Lord Jesus, I just pray that you will end abortion. I pray that on a lower level, I pray that steps will be taken. I pray that more states will ban abortion. I pray that you will just enter the hearts of those in charge. And I pray that you will come. I pray for revival among the abortion workers. That you will show them, reveal to them your love and the horrific reality that they are partaking in. In Jesus' mighty and lovely name, amen. It's the way. I don't know how long it's going to be. Probably like, I don't know. I don't even want to guess. But I've been recording for like an hour. And I have to say, when I record these, like, I literally, time goes by so insanely quickly. Because I genuinely enjoy this so much. That's another thing. Like, obviously at this moment, this is not a very known podcast. I don't get paid, which you could assume. But anyway, like, I do enjoy this. So I am working toward that for the future, but I don't need that as of now. And furthermore, if I am spreading the gospel to people, I do not need, I don't, that is the reward for me. Let me just say that is the reward for me. Not to mention, I'm not at an age right now where I need to have a solid income. So, yeah. By the way, if there's like random pauses, it's because I have water here, so. I'm actually hoping, I have watched the movie Unplanned probably like 5 times now. I love it. But I am going to get the book. I definitely want the book, just to see like the actual words from Abby. Like, I want to just see the words that she wrote in her own story. And, also, Live Action has merch. I have a shirt from them. There's this other crew neck that I want that says, like, smile and protect life. And y'all, we just need to remain in prayer, in the word, and we need to help in all the ways that we can. And, yeah, I pray this episode blessed and encouraged you. That's something I always say. I pray it blessed you and also encouraged you. And, yeah. I hope that you can come back next week for episode 7. We are going to be talking about, I'm not going to give you the title just yet. If I just said the title, it would be a little bit like, what? But we're going to be talking about Mormonism actually next week. I've been researching it thoroughly, and we're just going to compare it heavily to Christianity, talk about all the dangerous aspects to it. We're going to look at the major issues within the Latter-day Saint quote unquote church. So yeah, and we're gonna go about it with a biblical perspective, like always. So thank you for being here. I love y'all, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.